welcome back to the Library of Parthos. My name is Sarah. I am so excited to talk with you today about this book because it is a YA fantasy romance, I believe, but it's such a complex world that has been created in this book, and I'm so excited to share it with you. Before talking about this book, a somewhat related topic is kind of the inspiration for this story that I'm going to be sharing with you. And the inspiration, before we actually start talking about the book, is the book Rebecca by Daphne du Maurier. I've not read the book Rebecca, but I love the adaptations. The original with Laurence Olivier is probably my favorite, but the newer one with Lily James is also up there with one of my favorite things to watch. And I think because it's finally August, we're getting into spooky season, some of us are already there, it is the perfect time of year to watch Rebecca and other gothic romance type books. So if you've not seen it, I believe the latest adaptation is available on Netflix. Highly, highly recommend. It's such an engaging story. It's so suspenseful, I guess. And it's so much fun to watch. So if you're not familiar with it, definitely check it out. And there are hints to it in the book we're going to talk about today, which we will finally get into. And that is The Song of the Six Realms by Judy Lynn. Before filming this video, in preparation for this, because I did need to hear some of the pronunciations, I was watching an interview with Judy Lynn where she talked about a scene in this book specifically that was inspired by the events in Rebecca. So if you're a fan of Rebecca, you might notice that little nod to the story while you're reading this book. But now knowing, I can definitely see how that was a tribute to Rebecca. I got this book in owlcrate May 2024, I believe. So it is a beautiful edition of the book. We have this gorgeous dust jacket with art on the back side. We have art on the inside of the story, and then this beautiful rose gold color on the sprayed edges. So not only was it a great book to read, but it is also just an enjoyable book to look at. It's so pretty. So let's go ahead and get into this story. We'll go through a very quick spoiler-free summary for anyone who's not read the book and is trying to avoid those spoilers before getting to it, or if you're just a person who does not like books to be spoiled for you, period, that's fine. Feel free to skip to the end of the video if that's the case. And after that, then I'll get into more spoilers and my thoughts on the story. Song of the Six Realms is the story of Shu. She is a musician that is kind of working in service to kind of pay off a debt, essentially. While she is performing, a duke comes to the house that she works at and purchases her token so that she can go work for him. When she gets to his estate, she discovers that pretty much everything that she knew about the world is not at all how it seems. There are several mysteries that need to be uncovered with her help, and a lot of them are very dangerous, so she needs to work together with the Duke to figure out who's behind all of these things that have been happening and how can they protect all of the people that they care about. So that's pretty much it, spoiler free. We'll go ahead and get into some more details about the story and some spoilers. I do want to give a quick disclaimer of sorts before we get into the actual plot of this story with spoilers and all of those things. This is a very complex book. There is a lot of world building that happens. And so there's no way for me to do it justice without talking for 45 minutes. It's similar to trying to explain Middle-earth to somebody who's never heard of Lord of the Rings before. So if you are interested in the premise of this book, I highly recommend reading it for yourself so that you can really appreciate all of the details that Judy Lynn has put into the creation of this story. The main character of the story, her name is Shu, I believe. She is an orphan who is being raised by her uncle. So her parents were kind of branded as traitors, and she now carries this mark around her neck of sorts that basically nobody's going to give her a job. She's not going to be able to do anything like productive in her life because of this mark. And so her uncle takes her to the House of Flowing Water, where she can work as a performer, and hopefully in the future she can either go out on her own once she's kind of worked through this period that she has to work to kind of she basically has to like work herself out of servitude. Essentially, she has to pay off her debts, especially to the like the matron of the house who took her in, or potentially she'll get hired by some sort of noble who will have her as like a private musician for their house or their estate. So those are kind of the things that she is hoping for. Her uncle comes to visit her every year as she is growing up in this House of Flowing Water as a performer, and eventually his visits stop because he passes away. As an adult, Shu finally gets the opportunity to kind of become the principal performer. So for most of the time, she is kind of behind a screen as these dancers and singers are performing. She's just kind of like the orchestra. She plays an instrument called the chin, which is this instrument right here. And so she finally gets an opportunity to kind of perform for everybody. And when she is done with her performance, she is told that somebody has essentially requested a few minutes alone with her. It sounds very much like a brothel at times, and it's not. No part of this is brothel-esque at all. In fact, the matron of the house says multiple times throughout the story, if those are the types of services that you're looking for, you need to go somewhere else. That is not at all what we do here. I know as I'm talking about it, as I'm thinking about how I want to describe it, it very much does sound like that's what it is, but it is not. So when I say that he is kind of requested or like paid for time alone with her, it is in this like pavilion in a quiet garden. There are people all around, like servants and the other girls that live at the house. There is a meal that's provided. It is just time to talk. That's all that it is. So Shu was gifted before her uncle passed away a new chin that is, it's stunning, it's intricate, it has all this artwork and all of these adornments on it. It's just absolutely beautiful. And now that her uncle has passed, this is her like last reminder of him. So the person that requests her presents is a duke who offers pretty much whatever she wants to purchase the chin from her. And of course she refuses. He argues that it means a lot to him because it looks similar to one that his mentor owned. And she of course says that there's no price that she would be willing to part with it for. The Duke comes back after the next performance, requests her presence again, and he does apologize, saying that he didn't mean to offend her. He was just really hoping to try to kind of figure out what happened to his mentor. And as they're having this discussion, this beast just kind of appears in the courtyard, and it's not like a regular animal. It has kind of all of these crystal like obtrusions all over its body. So she's terrified. It has attacked another patron. So the Duke pulls out a sword, takes care of it. It's all good. Shu is okay. She's unharmed. And then the next day, nobody really remembers the same details that she remembers. So there's something really weird going on. And she also finds out that her like service has all been paid for. Her debt has been cleared by the Duke, and he has requested that she go play at his estate. So she's gotten what everyone in the house kind of works toward. Like that's the best of the best, right? You have somebody, some nobility who has recognized your talent, who has purchased your token or your debt to have you employed at their estate, where you're living the life of luxury and performing for nobility, right? That is the best outcome that these girls could hope for in the situations that they're in. So she's conflicted because she doesn't want to leave really the only family that she's known for a very long time, but she also recognizes this opportunity for what it is, and she is kind of hoping to get some answers for what she saw in the courtyard. So she and the Duke travel to his estate. When they get there, things are a little bit weird. It's very far away. The seasons don't kind of match up with what they should. And this is kind of where it's all revealed that everything she knew or thought she knew is not at all the way it is. And now we get into like all of the world building. So, as I mentioned, it's all very complex and it's wonderful. I highly recommend it. I'm going to just give a very broad overview of everything because, again, if we were to go into detail, we would be here for a very long time. So, essentially, the Duke, whose name is Jinglang, is the Lord of the Dreaming. So he is the one who keeps watch over everybody's dreams, and that's his purpose. His father is the former Duke of the Dreaming. However, he was branded as a traitor and taken away to this Tower of Forgetting or something along those lines. So the Duke is just kind of new to this role. His family has kind of been torn apart, and he is convinced that his father is innocent. And also, his mentor was with Sha's uncle when they died, and he's under the impression that they're both still alive. Now, here's where we get into investigating all of the mystery sort of thing. So something else that is explained to Sha is that the beast that she saw in the courtyard is called a Ravager, and it is basically a celestial being, so a god or a goddess or a spirit of sorts, whose spirit energy has kind of been messed with, and they turn into this beast where they're completely out of control of everything. They cannot control their bodies anymore. It's really just kind of given over to hunger, essentially. One of the flower spirits that grew up on the estate and was close with Duke Meng Jinglang, his sister, and her betrothed, who we'll meet in the book. This flower spirit was also turned into a Ravager and just kind of jumped off of the clouds that the estate are on and into this pool of forgetting. So she's gone as far as they know. To try to solve this mystery, they discover a couple of things. First of all, Sha goes to the library on the estate and just kind of reads up on all the celestial beings, because what else would you do in that situation? So she learns about the different celestials, the different spirits. She learns about the destroyer. She learns about the demon realm. All of this information. She also learns that there are these pearl-like things that are basically they're the tier of a celestial, and they contain a memory. And there's the strong suspicion that the pearls on her chin are actually somebody's memories. Specifically, either her uncle's or Jinglang's mentor. If they are able to look at the memories, they can kind of figure out what happened. And also the fact that they're still present most likely means that they're alive, because usually they only stick around, the little pearls, until that person or that being has passed away. They are able to look at all the pearls, all the memories. They discover a bunch of different things that help them on their quest. They discover that Jinglang's sister's betrothed, Chenwen, is half celestial, half demon, so he is this foretold being that's going to destroy everything. He's really not. He's totally on their side and super helpful. They also discover that the Sky Sovereign, who's supposed to be this, benevolent being that's caring for everybody, consumed the Moon Sovereign, and so he has all this crazy energy that he just stole from other celestials. He's the one who's been kind of bringing the Ravagers around, and there's this huge battle at the end between the Ravagers. They get the demons on their side. Everybody's here helping out, and finally they're able to destroy the Sky Sovereign at a cost, of course, and that cost is essentially the Duke's gonna give it all up so that he can get rid of the Sky Sovereign, and She is essentially going to take his place then as kind of the keeper of the dreaming. I think I said this is a fantasy romance, so of course they were romantically involved by the end of the story, and of course it's tragic that he seemingly dies as he's trying to save everyone, and then She has to take over as his kind of replacement. But there is hope, because there is a memory pearl left that belonged to the Duke, again indicating that he's not dead, because it should have disappeared if he was. And so the end of the story is just this really beautiful letter that she writes to him and kind of sends in the hopes that in the future he'll wake up from wherever he is and find all of these beautiful letters from her. So that's pretty much it for the Song of the Six Realms by Judy Lynn. There were a couple of things that I absolutely loved about this book. First of all is kind of the way that it's broken up and the format of it. So the main character is a musician. So the book is broken up like music. Each section of the book is titled verse 1, verse 2, verse 3, etc. And then there are interludes in between in which we get a little background into this celestial world. So the interludes are just kind of the stories that have been referenced throughout the book about how everything came to be and how everyone got their positions. So as the characters are learning things, you're also learning kind of what they previously knew. So you have a lot of background information as you're reading this story, which is, I think, really awesome. The other thing that I really loved about this book is the descriptions of the food. There are so many. Every time these characters sit down to eat, there is a detailed description of everything that they're eating. And it just sounds lovely. It makes me want to make like tiny little tea sandwiches and cookies and all of these different things that they're having throughout the story. But I just love the amount of detail that went into that, and also to the outfits. So every time that She is changed into a new outfit, we get a beautiful description of what she's wearing. It makes it so easy to picture, and everything sounds just so lovely. I believe this book is technically classified as like a gothic type story. So I didn't feel like I got those dark vibes that I think of with a gothic story. So I know earlier we talked about how it was influenced by Rebecca. I don't get the same dark, like this impending doom feeling that I get in gothic horror, but I can definitely see the inspiration. I think this is a much lighter story in terms of like the tone, but it is definitely heavily inspired by the events in those stories. So that's pretty much it. I highly recommend Song of the Six Realms, and this is a book where I highly suggest using the resources that the author has included for you. So there are some appendices in the back that talk about the different characters and who they are, what they do. So I would definitely reference those as often as you need to while you're reading so that you can really understand the world. Again, she just put so much time and effort into it, and I think it deserves to be appreciated. So let me know if you check out this book. It is definitely worth the read, and I have some other books by Judy Lynn that I'm gonna hopefully get to soon. I am definitely a fan of her writing style. That is the end of this video. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys soon. Bye.